Nice graphics, but hardly offers gameplay time. Huh? Hello and welcome to Extreme Gameplay Swap Play Game Stashly. Today is a different type of video for once in my life. Not really, because today I'm gonna be reading and reacting to negative reviews about God of War. God of War is a game that came out in 2018. Okay, no, for real, not that game. I'm talking about the 2005 game. This is gonna be a running series. I'm gonna make a video about, like, you know, reacting or reading negative reviews on Metacritic mainly about all the God of War games. And of course, I'm starting with the first God of War. Is God of War 1 the first God of War game? To my surprise, there aren't a lot of negative reviews for God of War 1, but I shall read them now. I think I got like 15 screenshots. Okay, so this first review that I have a screenshot of is by Sportsair Crap. Now that's a nice name. Now his format for typing is way too weird, so let's go through it the way he typed it, I guess. Gameplay 1, unplayable. Fun 1, you can't have fun. Story 7, story is set during era 5000 BC to 500 BC. Okay, what's the problem? Why is this a 1-star review? Cast 7, great. Score? My man just gave 1 to gameplay, which is the most refined thing and the most important thing in God of War 1. 1 to the fun aspect of it. The game introducing a new type of mechanic, new combinations of enemies every 3 minutes, and this guy's saying there's no fun. Okay. He gave the story a 7, which is, I mean, why? There aren't a lot of really plot holes in it. It's one game that has one cute small little story, and I don't see where this 7 is coming from, honestly, but that's of course his opinion, but I'm here to judge you. So then he gave the cast a 7 and then just a great right next to it. So that all concludes in a 1 out of 10 game. Oh, he also wrote something else. Overrated by all, should got less than 7.8. Okay, Sportsair Crap. Now this review was written in 2015, so it wasn't that early on when the game came out. It's like 10 years after the game came out. So yeah, I'm just gonna move on to the next review. Honestly, this was just a, I don't know what vapid button mashing mixed with mediocre. Okay, Jesus, see, button mashing mixed with mediocre music? No thanks. I'll take Halo 3 over this any day. Tell me you're an Xbox fanboy without telling me you're an Xbox fanboy. But look, it's like you're comparing 2 different beasts in 2 different genres from 2 different consoles, and you're clearly flashing your penis with this. I'll take Halo 3 over this any day. First of all, the button mashing, I don't know where is this coming from. Yes, you can do that, but you're gonna be dying 50,000 times, so there's that. Also, you can't button mash on the hardest difficulty. I've been showing this every day on my streams and videos, so. And man, the biggest look, if you're a casual who button mashes and thinks the game is just a button mashy game, fine by me. I don't really care. I love the game. But mediocre music. Yeah, fam, you're lost. You're roasted. No. This next review, he gave it a 3 by Henry M. And this one's written in 2007, so come on, it's 2 years after the game. Oh boy. I don't know why everybody liked that game. It's way too hard. It's the hardest game I ever played. The graphics, it's not that good. I would give it 7 because I don't like realistic what? And the music is annoying. The game is also too brutal. I almost cried once when I saw the... Look. If you're a sensitive person, it is what it is. But you know what you're signing into, right? What game wasn't brutal in 2005? Literally every game that came out was brutal and had stabbing, and RE4 checks out. And first of all, this grammar is just... Let's cover his first point, where is that the graphics is not that good because... And he's giving it a 7 because he does not like realistic graphics. Well, what do you like? What game kind of gives you the beautiful environments in 2005 that God of War 1 gave you? Like, I don't see this as a really nice point to have it. And he gives it a 7 because he doesn't like realistic graphics. Now, of course they were aiming for realism, but you're still seeing some beautiful stuff here and there. The architecture isn't the best, but I don't know. And the point is that he's saying he doesn't like the graphics. And then he's like, I don't like realistic graphics. Well, what are you trying to point out? And I'm kind of confused here. Do you not like the graphics of the game, or is it just a you thing where you don't like realistic graphics? Because otherwise, what else are you playing? I don't know. If you're playing Mario, I guess, which this review does give me that impression. I don't know, honestly, I'm just lost. The music is annoying. The music is annoying. I don't want to go through another montage of having all the crazy music God of War 1 has, but I don't see it as boring. I don't know what kind of game you want to play. This has some of the best original music I've ever heard in any game ever. Even at the last point I did, you know, make that stupid montage, hopefully for the future me who's editing. That's still not even showing all of the beautiful music that this game has. It just brings so many cool music pieces. I just don't see how this point stands. How is it annoying? It's different for once in gaming, come on. But I guess music is subjective, so let's move on to his next point, which is the game is also too brutal. I almost cried when I saw so much blood. Let's move on to the next one. Honestly, this is clearly a Crash Bandicoot player who expected that, even though on the cover there's a lot of Kratos is holding a severed head. But this next review is by Tilly S. Now this guy gave it a 6, but I'm just gonna read it because I don't know. Phenomenal production value aside, the game is nothing more than a boring button tapping combo. Of course. The game is nothing more than boring button tapping combos against recycled Lord of the Rings monster rejects mixed with annoying platform elements with camera issues. Whoa, so much to cover. Price of Persia, anyone? Am I the only one who makes sense here? Price of Persia, anyone? Nothing new or innovative. Unless you count the Clash of the Titans inspired nude scene? My guy, inspiration is one hell of a thing. Have you tried getting inspired by something? First up, he's bringing the boring button tapping combos against recycled Lord of the Ring monster rejects mixed with annoying platform puzzles and camera issues. I don't see how the camera has issues. Like, there are some more games out there that don't allow you to control the camera, which is something good in my opinion. I don't want to control my camera in my action game. Like, this is something that the old hack and slash, of course, not just old, even new hack and slash games, they set the camera up for you and you're just controlling the character. You're not busy with the camera, which is something I think is cool. Maybe you hate it, but I guess, but it's just not an objective thing. Like, the camera issues, I don't see that happening. You have camera issues with every camera system. Like, even the new God of Wars have camera issues here and there. So if you run the camera to a bad place, of course you're gonna have some bad situations, you know. And the point with annoying platforms, now I get this one, you know. I have played a lot of God of War 1, obviously. Now I know how to kind of traverse all the platforms, and I kind of never fall nowadays. I know, because I played a lot, and I actually get this point, because for a guy who doesn't replay the game a lot, I actually understand this point, because platforming can be a shithole sometimes in this game. And look, man, if God of War took inspiration from Prince of Persia, Devil May Cry, and that, I don't see anything wrong with that, because then you would, if God of War is really that inferior to these games, it wouldn't have 50 clones on its own. Like it or not, it defined a generation. Like, yes, it took inspiration, but you gotta face it when God of War has done things better than the other games that it got inspired from. Just accept it, honestly. When I tell someone that God of War 1 is better than Devil May Cry 5, of course, rightfully so, they want to strangle me, because Devil May Cry 3 is a very nice game, but just a me thing. Now, for real, God of War defined a generation. It has billions of other clones that followed up right behind it. You can't really just come out here and say, Price of Persia, anyone? Come on. This game was absolutely shocking. I bought it expecting a huge, free, beautiful environment inside the game, with lush, smooth, groundbreaking graphics. I got a dull, tedious storyline, linear, jagged environments, and total boredom. I guess that's 40 quid down the drain then. Listen, Ahmed A, who wrote this in March 29th, 2005. L. So you bought it expecting a huge, free, beautiful environment inside the game, with lush, smooth, groundbreaking graphics. Tell me how you never got this in this game, and tell me one game in 2005 that gives you this. And man, it's just like, my guy, how do you not have big environments and stuff? Of course, and the world is so, you know, you can miss stuff if you don't really explore the world, even though it's a linear game. So I don't know, where is this coming from? And how are the graphics not smooth? What is not smooth about this game's movements? Actually, even if we're talking about movements right now, what is not smooth in this game? Everything meshes together so well, and I don't know where all of this dull argument is coming from. I mean, right, even God of War 2 took notes and they kind of expanded the world, made it bigger and stuff, but this is a first time coming, I guess, so I don't know. And the point after where he said he got a dull, tedious storyline, I guess you didn't pay attention to the story, because this is my favorite God of War story. It's simple, it's not so, you know, big and stuff, but it's a simple classic Greek tragedy. Like, I don't know what's bad about it. Like, tell me one flaw. I guess you can come up with some flaws, but even then the story is making sense. Like, even as a one game, one story thing, it makes sense. It's a good game. And man, when you speak of boredom, I guess you mean the Cliffs of Madness, which for me who likes combat, I'm thankful for that section. But for a random guy playing the game, I guess a lot of people thought the game really, you know, pats down, you know, when you reach that section, and the game is just taking longer to get you out of the temple. Which I guess you can make an argument about that, but come on, the game has to be hard. This is 2005 we're talking about. It has to give you new encounters, and gameplay is supreme in these games, so I don't really know what you mean by boredom, because if you mean the environments are boring, I guess for you, yes, but other people really love the ancient look of the temple, for example. Or, you know, the start where you're on the ship and it's raining all over. It's stupidly crazy. And then people, of course, loved Hades and stuff. I don't know where all this is coming from. Boredom? I never went through such a thing in God of War 1. So yeah, man, this one's crazy. Let's actually move on to the next one by Pijo. Oh god. Nice graphics, but hardly offers gameplay time. Huh? My dude. How? God of War 1 literally brings you the most gameplay out of every God of War from what I have in my memory right now. The combat encounters are paced out so well. There's an encounter behind every corner in God of War 1. It's that good, and I don't know where is this coming from? Other than encounters and combat, which is the main thing in this game, what about the platforming? You're always playing. It's always gameplay. This is the game with the least, you know, cutscenes, I believe, you know, in between stuff. Like, you're constantly playing the game, and I don't see where you're coming from with this. Rarely gives any gameplay time. Let's continue reading. Let me give the professional reviewers a clue. Okay. Nice graphics and sound are great, but if the game can be played in less than 8 hours, then it's not worth the incredible amount of money that the makers asked for it. Oh, so he was talking about the length. I'm actually gonna keep on reading this before I judge it. Would be nice if the makers not only had spent lots of money on the graphics, but actually made a game that had some lasting appeal as well as a lot of more gameplay. In short, rent the game for a day or two, save yourself lots of money. Look, I guess he is actually talking about how long the game is, and he has a problem with the game being done in 8 hours as a first walkthrough maybe and stuff. But really, when you look at it, I don't know what kind, and this is even written in 2005, so I don't know what kind of game you want that is longer than that is a hack and slash. Like, you can finish Devil May Cry 3 in about the same time, or actually even less time if you sit in one, you know, consecutive walkthrough. I guess he played a lot of Prince of Persia that does take long because the puzzles might be hard for your goofy little 10-year-old brain. Now look, games don't need to be long. I'm pretty sure nowadays people realize that games don't need to be long. Like, I don't need to sit through a 30-hour experience for a game, because there's also replayability with games and stuff. So these games being 5 hours max when you know how to play the game later, it's actually a blessing. You can keep on replaying the game and get better on very hard or whatever. The game also, old games used to try to be hard to kind of keep the player play for longer periods of time. And honestly, just yeah, he's saying the developers spent a lot of money on the graphics, but I'd like to argue here. The combat is much better than how good the graphics are. The combat is so deep. I explain it every day on my streams and stuff, and it kind of set the setting for all the games that would come after. The other games just tweaked stuff and edited some stuff here and there, but it had everything for the combat. I mean, It's enough to just finish it and then do the challenges maybe and then just replay the game. I don't know why you want longer gameplay time. That would be good in some aspects, but have you seen how creative the encounters are? The encounters are all so creative. They always bring more than one problem at the same time. You always have combinations of enemies, this enemy with that enemy, this thing is the problem, this other thing is also a problem, deal with it. They're creative encounters. Sure, they could have thrown a billion other more encounters, but then you would call them a little something called repetitive, and I'm pretty sure nobody wants this in their game. They went all out with the first God of War. I don't know where all this is coming from. Actually, the gameplay time is perfect for the game, even for the age that it came out in, and it's 2005. Now, games used to be not that long, and I guess I don't know what kind of game you want to play, but I guess the length is a problem. I don't know. Every game that came out in 2005 was short. Not that long. Come on. Like Resident Evil 4 is not that long if you played it back then. Like you would finish it with, of course, 8 to 9 hours, 10 hours maybe. You had Devil May Cry 3. You have some other games here and there as well. All amongst the, the same, time to play the game. Like if you're talking about Grand Theft Auto, then I guess I understand where you're coming from. Grand Theft Auto games are longer than these other games, but that's in their nature. But an action hack and slash game does not need to be that long. It doesn't. This next review by Kevin K. This is also in 2005, and he's saying, "What's the use? All you do is fight." What's the what? My guy. Huh? You see, it's like getting disappointed in your father. Let's not make the argument of it's like being disappointed in your son or whatever. It's like literally getting disappointed in your father. I think there was that one time where Sean C said something and he was like, it went a little something like, it's like your father trying to convince you that he's strong after he just got knocked out right in front of you. I don't know what you want in your game. Like, the game is pretty much an action game. It has to have a perfected combat system. I don't know what you needed. More cutscenes? And actually, besides that, there is a pretty beautiful story in the game that I'm pretty sure you never understood. And there's a lot of platforming and puzzles, and where is all this coming from, all the fighting? God of War 1 does give you a lot of encounters. There's just, you go behind every corner and there's an encounter, but then again, you can always skip some of these encounters, which is not something that I advise, but it is still an option. And if not, the game is an action game. Again, we return to the same point. It's an action game. What do you want in this action game? Racing? No. I'm honestly just gonna move on to the next review. This is stupid. We have 3 more reviews, so let's go. This next review by Kim Penis, again in 2005, which is interesting. I was pretty disappointed with God of War, having purchased it based on write-ups in the press and by other players. The graphics are pretty well done and really are milking the most out of the now longing the tooth PS2. However, gameplay was tired, uninspired, and unoriginal. A button masher of old school variety. Oh my god. A button masher of the old school variety, I quickly grew tired of the lack of skill required to proceed. This was taken to the absurd level in the boss fights, where there are parts where the designers basically tell the player, never mind the controls, just mash this single button as fast as you can. Ugh, I can't fathom why others are rating this as high as they are. The player's intelligence is further insulted with reward hints like, hey, sounds like there are maidens in here. Ugh. Save yourself the money and play some old Neo Geo titles on MAME. I'm kind of I'm starting to be as stupid as these people, and I'm starting to be as... Look, I don't know what you mean by the game not asking the player to do much. On normal, of course you're gonna just breeze through the game, but have you played very hard? Keep on attacking some enemies and they're gonna start blocking. Do this and that and they're gonna just peck you out of your, action going on. I don't know where this is coming from, when have the designers ever told you, hey, just press these 2 buttons to beat this boss? The Minotaur? I didn't see that hint that you're talking about. The Hydra? When? When did the designers ever come up and say, just press these 2 buttons? Oh no, you can't. The Hydra attacks like every 2 seconds. I don't know where all this is coming from. And then even later with the main Hydra, it has some attacks that are actually hard, and you have to have some good timing to dodge the Big Mac bite and all that cool stuff. And it's like, listen, the main thing is at the end, of course, with Ares. how can you beat this guy if you just button mash? It's not easy. All of the shit he's talking about the game being button mashy and uninspired and all that, I don't know where all that shit is coming from. Literally all of it. Because let me tell you, in Devil May Cry, you can always spam holy water on the enemy's holy daughter. Or I guess ugly daughter, I don't know. Every game has its broken stuff, but isn't it good that God of War doesn't have a holy water system? A thing that wipes out the entire room by just pressing a yes button on a prompt? And even then, like, it's not near as broken as holy waters in Devil May Cry. Not even near! It's not! It will never be. And it's not, look, you can mash square and 3 triangles to go through some, encounters and bosses, but that again, you're not playing to the optimal extent that you can play at. The game has billions of in-depth mechanics, and I have made a 5-hour-long combat guide for a reason. The game is actually deep with its combat, other than Kratos being complex and having all these moves and all the secondary, the secondary weapon that he has and stuff, all the magic attacks. I just can't begin to tap into how wrong this review is, honestly. When you say uninspired, I don't know, like, what game are you trying to talk about right here? Because God of War has a lot of enemies, and every enemy has a weak point, and every enemy knows your weak point. I don't know where to take this, Ashley. I'm starting to be as stupid as this guy, as I'm saying. I'm gonna move on to the next review by Stay Ross, and this review is actually pretty recent. It's written in 2021. I hope he's not watching this video. Okay, I know how this is written. Massively overrated game, full of badly balanced section and lazy, inaccurate combat. Worst is the Worst is the stupidly designed puzzles. Am I the only one who's lost here? I guess he means worst is the stupidly designed puzzles. The game was praised and saved by the big budget that allowed for good visuals and cutscene. How do you mess up cutscene? Look, listen, stay Ross, stay niche, stinky. How is this game massively overrated? Like, everyone is loving it besides you, and I guess it's a you problem. Full of badly balanced sections and lazy, inaccurate combat. Now, I actually question this point that he's making. What inaccurate combat? Name one thing that is inconsistent in this game. One! Just one! If you're talking unbalanced, I guess there's one fight at the very end of the game with the Clone War that can be, cheesed if you know how to use your magic and rage points, yes. But other than that, all of the other encounters are so creative, so well balanced. Like, they give you your tools to deal with everything in the room. Like, use this small enemy on this big enemy. And I have discussed this a lot in my combat guide. Again, I'm not trying to self-advertise here. I don't know how it's lazy or unbalanced as this guy is making it out to be. It's really not. It's wrong. Just go ahead and play the game. Don't listen to this fool. He's saying it's overrated. It's really not. Look, motherfucker, if it was overrated, it wouldn't have gotten all the beautiful clones that followed the years after. Some companies are still trying to clone the old God of War style. I don't understand this. I don't know. If it's overrated, why would all these people, praise it? You're just in the minority here. You do realize this. Like, I barely got 15 screenshots of negative reviews for God of War 1. I don't know where I'm gonna go with the next episode of God of War 2, whereas, it's for a lot of people, God of War 2 is better than God of War 1. But even still, like, this guy's calling it overrated. Where is this coming from? Stupidly designed puzzles. Look, I agree with this. Some of the puzzles are stupidly designed, but not all of them. Some of them are really greatly inspired, but then you have the Tetris puzzle, and this one I actually agree with. The Tetris puzzle is very, very slow. There are some other puzzles here and there that can be very slow and stupid, and I hate them. But other than that, all the other puzzles are just risky. You're always having the risk that you might die and stuff, and it's kind of... I'm actually in the middle here, so I don't know if I can agree with him or not about the puzzles, but I don't know. I'm in the middle, as I said. Next review by Cody1999. And this is the last review, so let's see what we have for the last review. Ripped off Devil May Cry. Yeah, and other hilarious jokes you can tell yourself. Inspiration is one hell of a thing. Ripping off is something else. Ripping off is like Dante's Inferno, what Dante's Inferno is to God of War. But let's keep on reading this. Ripped off Devil May Cry has way too many QTEs, has you playing as a psychotic maniac, and has you press the same 2 buttons over and over and over again to win. Sure sounds fun, don't it? First off, you people need to learn the difference between getting inspired by something and absolutely just snatching something off of another game. You don't have a lock on in this game. You don't have, like, oh my god, I can't go through everything that is different because literally everything is different. The only thing that is resembling Devil May Cry, which, by the way, let me just discuss something about this point that he's making. Now, when he's saying ripped off Devil May Cry, I'm pretty sure he means Devil May Cry 3, the game that came out at the same year that God of War 1 came out in. And let me just tell you something that is far from the truth, and I'm pretty sure you're not willing to accept it right now. The inspiration God of War got from Devil May Cry was from Devil May Cry 1. Development for God of War 1 started in 2003, my guy. 2003! They got inspired by Devil May Cry 1 for, you know, having more than one enemy in a room, encounters going on, which was inspired by Onimusha, if you remember these types of games. And that is not called ripping off. There is literally nothing that resembles Devil May Cry 1 in God of War other than the encounters having, you know, more than 3 enemies in an encounter room and you have to beat everyone and then you have bosses and stuff, which then again, that is literally every other game company that did that. And then again, it's way too different in God of War 1 and how it's done when compared to Devil May Cry 1. I'm pretty sure you were comparing it to Devil May Cry 3. I'm just 100% sure because actually this is in 2018, so I'm double the times of sure that, I don't know if that makes sense. I'm 2 times more sure that you mean Devil May Cry 3 and 4 and what followed after. So you just don't know what you're talking about. Devil May Cry, the inspiration that God of War got from Devil May Cry was from Devil May Cry 1. Not your precious Devil May Cry 3. It has way too many QTEs. True, especially the analog QTE, which can be hard for some people. Not for me, but for some people it can be hard, yes. So I guess you do have a point there. And the other point where you said you're playing as a psychotic maniac, I don't know how. Like, if you're looking at the cutscenes where Kratos is killing this and that and the third and stuff, that is all in his past and he's left these days and stuff. I guess there is that one sacrifice room in the fire, but Kratos is not yet that psychotic. I'm pretty sure you got it mixed up with God of War 3 and God of War... Actually, yeah, just God of War 3 Kratos, where he's a monster and a maniac. You're basically the villain in God of War 3, if you didn't know. I guess you mixed it up with that because in God of War 1, Kratos is sympathetic. He's not rage-fueled. He's not going for a revenge mission. It's just he just wants to sleep, honestly. And again, he's bringing the press the same 2 buttons to win. I challenge the fuck out of you to beat the Clone War at the end by just pressing 2 buttons. I challenge you. Hell, I challenge you to beat the game on very hard by just doing these 2 button combinations that you're talking about. Go ahead and do it. Come on, I'm not giving you anything, but just go ahead and do it and just prove yourself right here, little coats. Now with this, I'm gonna wrap up the video. I've been talking for over 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys are enjoying the live streams of God of War. I hope you guys like the content coming up in the future. I don't know where the channel is going, but I hope you're always enjoying it. With that, we come to the end of this video. See you in the next negative reviews for God of War 2 that is gonna happen in a couple of months, because that's what I do in this channel. It has been your Extreme Gamer Zesty. Peace.